What is going on, everyone? My name is Jazz, and thanks for entering the Lobby of Hobbies, where today we're bringing you a Kickstarter preview of Floriferous, which is designed by Steve Finn, Eduardo Baroff, and Keith Mateka, who designed the solo mode. This one is published by Pencil First Games, so if you're familiar with the Whatnot Cabinet or Herbaceous and are fans of those, you just might want to stick around to check this one out. Now, again, this is a Kickstarter preview, so understand that many of the components you see are in prototype form. But this one plays in about 20 minutes for 1 to 4 players, so if you enjoy just a cup of tea, sitting back and relaxing with your friends or your family, this one just might be your cup of tea. So we're going to go through, get this one to the table, see how it sets up, how it plays, and then you can make the decision for yourself whether or not this one is worthy to back. Now, this one is set to launch tomorrow, March 23rd, according to the date today when you're watching this. So March 23rd tomorrow, this one will be launching on Kickstarter. So stay tuned.
So here we have a 4-player setup for Floriferous, with the left-hand side showing the player's pawn colors along with 3 matching flower tokens. Understand this is a prototype, so the flower tokens and pawns do not match, but will in the final version. Players will also receive a player aid that will give them their turn sequence along with card symbology for flowers, colors, and the types of insects in the game. Being that this is a colorblind friendly game, the colors are also distinguished by different shapes. On the back end of their player aid will be a scoring reference card. The play area is set up with cards from the garden deck spread out into a 5x4 grid, with the second and fourth cards of the first row being face down, and the first, third, and fifth cards of the third row getting a stone token. The cards all in the fourth row will get a stone token, and the fifth row is distinguished by cards that are called desire cards, which are scoring objectives that players will draft. Off to the right will be the remaining decks, stone tokens, as well as this T card that will be given to the player who acquires the most stone tokens at the end of the game. Up top will be 3 randomly distributed bounty cards that have different icons up top. These icons are going to be icons that players are trying to acquire into their tableau. Once a player completes all 3 icons on a card, they will be able to place one of their flower tokens onto that card, dependent on the day or round that they complete the objective. If they do it in the first round, they'll be able to place it in day 1, day 2, or day 3, which will each have different point objectives, 5 points, 3 points, and 1 point for those respective days. The game is now set to start with players drafting cards in the columns, with the first player up top and working their way down. As players draft, they are drafting cards and taking any tokens that are on that card they draft. Players will be drafting flower cards, arrangement cards, sculpture cards, and desire cards, which are the scoring objectives players are trying to get for cards in their tableau. A new turn order is set, and players are drafting for day 1 or round 1 from left to right. At the end, they will reset up, and then they will this time draft from right to left for day 2 and left to right for the last round, day 3. They will look at the bounty cards for each round and see if they've completed any and put their scoring marker on it. At the end of the game, players will score points for their bounty cards, as well as any desire cards that they've scored, and then 1 point for every 2 stones. The player with the most stones will get the T card. There's also scoring for arrangement cards, which have 3 different icons on them. If a player has completed all 3, they will receive 5 points, 3 points for only 2 of them, and 1 point for only getting 1 icon. There are also sculpture cards that players are trying to acquire the most of. The player who has the most will get 5 points, 3 points for the next player, and then 1 point for the player who came in third. After tabulating all these points, the player with the most points wins the game, and that is Floriferous.
All right. So there you have the overview of Floriferous. Now, as you can see, the game is very streamlined, and we're going to go in and ask the same question that we do with all of our reviews, and that is, can you dig it? So with respect to the target audience for this game, I think this game kind of hits all spectrums. It's one that is very quick to teach to both new and casual gamers, but I also think there is this neat little layer of strategy with people who are experienced gamers, and this is something that they can use as a filler game for their game nights. With that turn order structure that you see in the Whatnot cabinet being translated over into this game, I think it adds a neat layer of strategy, trying to not only think about what you're going to collect in that next column, but also looking down at subsequent columns to place yourself in a turn order to potentially get the cards that you need to score. But I thought what was really neat, though, that experienced gamers will understand, or learn to understand and appreciate of this game, is that you're not only creating set collections like you are in Herbaceous, which is also by Pencil First, but you actually have to draft the cards that you want as your scoring cards. So you're not only drafting your cards for your tableau that you're creating sets of, you're also drafting the cards that you need to score those cards, which I thought was pretty neat. So this is one that I think all players will be able to just grasp, learn very quickly, and get to the table fast, which I think is important for a filler type game. Alright, so how inviting is the art and the theme here? I think the artwork is something that really is going to draw people in here. The art is done, very beautifully, very nice colors, this pastel spring has sprung type colors, which gives you that nice, inviting vibe. Everybody looks forward to spring, and I think many people will look forward to getting this one to the table. Now, theme here might be a little bit lacking. I don't think people are going to be drawn in by this, heavily thematic type card game, but I think the idea of letting them know this is a game about, collecting flowers and collecting arrangements, and that idea of that, theme, it might be one that intrigues some people, some folks that are really into that. So while the theme is very light and it's really not, heavily ingrained into it, I do think just the idea of the theme might be enough to, bring some people to the table. But definitely, what's the most inviting thing here is the artwork. So we're at the question, is this game good? Is this something worth backing? Now, I will tell you with Floriferous, what makes this game very inviting is the fact that it has neat little layers of strategy that is very welcoming to new and even experienced gamers that they'll be able to appreciate. And this is something that I will be backing. It'll find a spot on my shelf right next to the Whatnot cabinet and Herbaceous. But I enjoyed that turn order structure, with drafting those cards, as well as how you're not only drafting the cards into your tableau, but the scoring cards that you need, I thought was really neat as well. But the one thing that I got a chance to play with and I enjoyed, and I think it really upped the level for me, was the mini expansion that is going to be included to backers during this campaign. And this is what they call the early spring expansion, or mini expansion. And this gives players a hand of 3 cards. And on their turn, they can choose one of these cards and play one of them per round, and each round in this game is called a day. And once they use that card, it's out of the game. But each one has a different ability. And for example, you have one card that's a rain card that will allow you to swap a card in the next column with another card in that column. So it allows you to potentially take a desire card or one of those scoring cards and bring it up higher into the column, allowing you to draft that card, but even potentially get the first pick of your next turn, which I thought was pretty neat. So it adds that layer of strategy to the cards that you're drafting. Same thing with this one, the Sunshine card, which allows you to take a card in the next column and swap it with another card within its same row. So again, if there's a card that you don't think, or you want to assure yourself of getting, that's further down in the track, you can bring it closer to you and draft that. And then lastly, you have this Breeze card, which allows you to peek at a face down card in the next column. So I think with this little mini expansion, it's going to add more layers of replayability, especially for experienced gamers and people who have played this game more and more. They'll be able to have new experience with it. So I'd say definitely check out Floriferous, and if you are, and you want to back this game, definitely back it, especially, you have a neat little mini expansion that's going to be coming along with it. So check it out. I want to thank you guys for stopping through and checking us out here at the lobby. And if this is your first time through, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button along with that bell icon. That way you can be notified anytime we drop new content here on the channel. But down in the comments below, let me know what you think of Floriferous. Is this something that you're considering backing? But if you're watching this after the 23rd, is this something you'd have backed and is something that you're looking forward to playing? So I'll see you down in the comments, and I'll check you guys out on the next episode.